Live on News8000.com. This is News 8 Now, this morning.
A good Monday morning to you. I'm Jordan Fremstead. This morning on News 8 Now, hundreds of University of Wisconsin health nurses vote to strike if a union is not recognized. Hospital leaders say action will harm patients.
And I'm Derek Sibley. We got a nice start to what looks like a great week ahead. More details are coming up in my forecast.
And the Bassmaster Elite comes to a close today with a narrow lead as anglers battle it out on day 4. It is August 29th, 2022. We've got all the news, weather, and buzz you need to plan out your morning coming up. But first, here is your Monday morning eye-opener.
Anytime that nurses are saying things aren't right and we're stepping away from the bedside because it's so bad, that's where we belong and that's where we all want to be. But if it gets that bad, you know something is really wrong.
Coffee could actually lower your risk of certain liver diseases, some types of cancers, and type 2 diabetes.
So yesterday, the Brewers looked for a series win over the Cubs, and they needed it bad. And
I've always wanted to be a part of going back to the mirror, and this is that first big step.
Well, we have a lot to get to here on this Monday, but we're going to begin with Derek Sibley, as usual, on a Monday morning. And Derek, a little quiet out there this morning. What can we expect for the rest of the day?
Yeah, that's right, Jordan. It sure is pretty quiet and also pretty humid this morning. If
Yes.
you probably didn't notice, it's definitely muggy with relative humidity values anywhere between 80 to 90%, if not more, in some spots this morning. So wear that light, loose clothing as you head out the door because it's definitely humid here and also pretty warm. Temperatures into the mid-70s. 76 in La Crosse, 71 to the north in Eau Claire, 73 to the west in Winona, 74 further east, though, in Sparta this morning. Other than that, though, City Cam 8 is looking quiet here for your early morning commute, and we expect our weather conditions to remain quiet throughout the rest of the day. Your hourly forecast shows only a slight chance of a shower or two. Other than that, we expect a mix of sun and clouds throughout the rest of the day today. Temperatures warming up into the low to mid 80s. I do have a high today of around 84 degrees. Coming around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Let's get a quick check on your allergy report. Everything is still high for ragweed, weeds, and mold today and tomorrow. Some common ragweed symptoms include sneezing, nasal congestion, runny nose, watery eyes, itchy throat or eyes. Also wheezing are some common symptoms too to watch out for. And it looks to remain high here for a bit, Jordan.
All right. Well, stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot, Derek. Well, nurses across the UW health system are threatening to strike next month for at least 3 days. It's a big escalation in the push to unionize, one that started almost 3 years ago. Staff retention and patient care quality are core concerns the nurses have, and they want their union recognized with no retaliation for employees who participate. Naomi Coles joins us from outside UW Hospital in Madison.
Nurses are coming in by the hundreds to get involved.
Sherry Signer helped forge this path toward unionization nearly 3 years ago, from 5 or 6 to hundreds strong.
I'd like the board to know that they need to question why Dr. Alan Kaplan is not listening to his nurses and why he is not willing to meet with us when we are all saying, hundreds of us are saying something is wrong.
A vote last night set dates in September for a 3-day or longer strike. Sherry says they're withholding the total number of nurses, so the hospital has to hire replacements for everyone.
And I would assume around that time that they will start to try to move patients out of the hospital. But it will 100% disrupt patient care, and definitely it will impact the patients.
My dad is a teacher, and so I saw the negative impact of that union busting law, Act 10, back in 2011.
Family history and watching UW's decision-making during the pandemic made it easy for Justin Giebel to sign on to the movement.
Anytime that nurses are saying things aren't right and we're stepping away from the bedside because it's so bad, that's where we belong and that's where we all want to be. But if it gets that bad, you know something is really wrong.
Act 10 stripped bargaining rights from public employees, but UW Health's status is complex. Legal members have offered differing opinions, and Attorney General Josh Kaul said this summer he believed it would be legal. But UW Health's position is that recognizing the union would violate the law.
If he says that we can have this union voluntarily recognized, that we need to go with that opinion.
In a statement, UW leadership made clear they would not come to the bargaining table, saying nurses could avoid a strike by petitioning the state of Wisconsin instead for union recognition. They wrote, quote, "We must take them at their word that a strike will happen."
You know, I guess my question for them is, what do you have to lose? If you respect us the way that you say you do.
UW Health doesn't know how many will strike, but are reported to have about 3,600 nurses in all. The strike potentially can cause major patient care disruption. Well, this time the DNR starts the fire. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources held a mock fire on exercise in Black River Falls over the weekend. Crews simulated a large wildfire starting in the town of Brockway and spreading northeast. Over 15 local fire departments participated and got to practice a safe and effective wildfire response.
So having these entities come together to work together now in a mock environment helps it in case there were a real event.
Property owners who participated also got the chance to have their land inspected for safety. The DNR reports that nearly 700 wildfires have occurred in Wisconsin since the beginning of 2022. You can find more information about fire safety on the DNR's website. We'll post that to news8000.com. A local nonprofit is celebrating a milestone. The Mississippi Valley Conservancy has been protecting land and water in the area for 25 years. The nonprofit was founded in 1997 to protect the Driftless region's bluffs from development. Executive Director Carol Abramson says the nonprofit is now working to mitigate climate change.
The plants and the animals, as they have to adapt to climate change, they can move about in these blocks of protected land so that they can continue to thrive here.
The celebration lasted all afternoon over the weekend yesterday, including 2 guided hikes on marsh trails. Community members got a chance to see the blufflands. There were also speeches from the founding members, activities for kids, and of course, cake. The La Crosse Jaycees held a special car and bike show fundraiser at Logan High School on Sunday. There were food, trucks, and music, and of course a car and bike show. Despite a rainy start, it never stopped the fun.
Hopefully the years to come we'll have the sun out, but it doesn't really matter. The attitude is here and the liveliness, and just to be here for the great cause brings the sun out whether it comes out or not.
The Jaycees hope to hold a fundraiser every year. For its first, it benefited the Mississippi Sisters breast cancer survivors. The Survivors Dragon Boat team is hoping to take part in a Survivors Festival in New Zealand. Today is the last day the Mississippi River will be full of competitors trying to catch the big one.
There's a lot riding on the line. Plus, the guy that wins gets $100,000.
I can use $100,000. Where do I sign up? The Bassmaster Elite Tournament Day 4 is underway. Anglers are competing to qualify for future tournaments and for that big cash prize. The big weigh-in happens today at Copeland Park. An organizer of the event says fishing here is something competitors look forward to.
La Crosse is one of those destinations that a lot of tournament organizations like to come to. Great fishing. The host community's always been great to us. You come back to these places every few years, you get to reestablish connections with the people. It's just a good field.
The anglers do their best to release every fish they catch back into the river to make sure there's a future generation of big and healthy bass. A heads up for Onalaska drivers this morning. Sand Lake Road will be closed from Wells Street to Madison Street. That starts today. Utility workers will be installing a new storm sewer pipe between Sand Lake Road and 11th Avenue North. Drivers can use the detour route posted along Wells Street, 14th Avenue North, and Madison Street. Onalaska city officials say the detour is only for residential drivers, not trucks and large cars. City engineers have not released how long the pipe will take to install. Also beginning this morning, those traveling along the Minnesota side of Interstate 90 might face some backups. Eastbound and westbound lanes will be closed as crews clear and seal pavement cracks on the I-90 Mississippi River Bridge. Access to the Welcome Center and the Lock and Dam will be detoured for a short period of time during the road work. The Minnesota Department of Transportation says to access those spots, traffic should use exit 273. Work is expected to wrap up on August 31st. Well, still to come on your Monday morning news, 50 years later, and NASA kicks off our Monday morning with a historical launch. We'll fill you in. And Missouri and neighboring states brace for massive flooding. For now, we are sending you to break with something to put the good in your Monday morning. You can see it there. After coming in third last year, Hawaii powered its way to the 2022 Little League Baseball World Series title on Sunday afternoon, defeating Curacao 13-3 in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. This is the fourth Little League World Series title for a team from Hawaii and the second in the last 4 competitions. It is 11 after the hour here on this Monday morning. Your latest forecast is just ahead. We'll be right back right after this.
Beautiful start there from City Cam 8 this morning, but a bit warm and muggy. And as far as your zone forecast today is concerned, La Crosse County will be into the 80s today with 84 in La Crescent this afternoon. As we head south, we're looking at highs reaching 81 in Lafarge and 81 in Hillsboro today, 80 today if you're in Stoddard this afternoon. As we head towards our central zone, 79 in Black River Falls, 79 as well in Sparta, and 78 further north in Osseo. Our north zones, though, looking at highs into the upper 70s. Some of us could reach those low 80s. Boating forecast also looks good. 81 mostly cloudy at noon, 3 o'clock 83, and still mostly cloudy 6 p.m. Looking at more sunshine, though, temperatures at around 78 degrees.
A new survey from the Department of Energy says the number of factors, including the war in Ukraine, are causing fuel supplies to be lower than normal across the U.S. The agency says the situation is most noticeable in the Northeast, where diesel and heating oil inventories are more than 50% below the recent average. That's raising concerns a severe weather event could cause supply disruptions. A 1952 Mickey Mantle baseball card in nearly perfect condition sold for $12.6 million over the weekend. The Yankees Hall of Famer card set a new record in the sports memorabilia market that's been growing rapidly in recent years, especially during the pandemic. The sale brought in a hefty profit for the seller, who bought the card in 1991 for $50,000. Good return on the investment there. Well, we still do not know who won last month's $1.34 billion Mega Millions jackpot, and that's because the Illinois Lottery says the winner still has not come forward. But there is still time for that to happen. The winner has a year from the date of the drawing to make a claim, but they only have 60 days from that same date to choose between annual payments or a lump sum cash payout, which would be worth around $742 million. Better get on the phone, don't you think? Well, maybe you drink it in the morning or at noon to refuel, but some people, it's hard to imagine a day without coffee. And the good news is that drinking coffee can actually be good for you. Consumer Reports even says that having more than 1 cup of coffee a day could have a positive impact on your health. But how much coffee is too much? Consumer Reports explains.
Is that first sip of coffee the best part of your morning? Well, good news. Coffee can actually be good for you.
Coffee could actually lower your risk of certain liver diseases, some types of cancers, and type 2 diabetes. And there's some evidence that it can also lower your risk of heart disease and respiratory disease.
Other research even suggests that if you drink coffee, you could live longer than non-coffee drinkers, in part because coffee is rich in antioxidants. Great, but how much coffee is healthy and how much is too much?
In general, the average person can safely consume up to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, the amount in 3 to 5 cups of coffee.
If you have a medical condition or caffeine sensitivity, it's always best to check with your doctor and always listen to your body. If your heart is thumping much faster than usual and you feel extra shaky and jittery, it's probably time to lay off. And if you love coffee but still want to sleep at night, Consumer Reports says finish your last cup around 2 p.m. That way, the majority of caffeine you've consumed has left your body by bedtime. And while generally coffee can be good for you, Consumer Reports says it's still important to pay attention to what you add to your coffee drink.
For every teaspoon of sugar you add, you're consuming 16 calories. And 2 ounces of whole milk adds another 38 calories and 2 grams of fat. Just something to think about when you reach for that next cup.
This is Luz Plasencia.
Just stick to black like myself. If you like to alternate between coffee and tea during the day, CR says that can be good for you too. In a study published last year, researchers found that people who drank 2 to 3 cups of coffee plus 2 to 3 cups of tea per day had about a 30% lower risk of dementia and stroke compared to people who didn't drink either.
Definitely a humid start this morning, as you can tell, with relative humidity values in the 80 to 90 percentiles, if not more humid than that here across portions of the Coulee region. And current temperature readings are into the 70s here this morning, with 76 being one of the warm spots currently in La Crosse and 75 in Esparta, 73 degrees further south, though, in Viroqua this morning. We did have a broken line of showers and thunderstorms that moved through, especially across our northern zones near the Eau Claire area late last night into early this morning, but now things have settled down as we are now on the backside of a cold front that just moved through. That's the reason why we had that broken line of thunderstorms move in overnight. But now, since we're behind the front, we're going to be looking at some drier conditions settling into the area as we head into the rest of the day and most of this week here as well, which we'll get to here in a second. Low yesterday was 67 degrees. That put us 7 degrees above that normal low of 60. 82 was our high yesterday, and right around the average here, very close to 81 degrees. Now today is going to be a much warmer day in terms of our low, 72. That's way above low of 60 degrees. The high today, 84, will put us a few degrees above normal here this afternoon. The rest of our highs today mainly into those upper 70s to low 80s across the Coulee region. All right, let's talk about your daycast. Mostly cloudy, 81 by 12, and by 4 we're turning partly cloudy, and then by this evening clear skies and temperature of around 73 degrees. So that cold front here that's currently moving through is going to continue to push towards the east, and behind it lots of clear skies, and we also have high pressure expected to build in as we head into the day tomorrow. That's going to cause sunny and dry conditions for us to work with throughout the day tomorrow and into Wednesday as well. Things are still looking good, and we do expect this tranquil weather pattern to continue with a mix of only sun and clouds really throughout the rest of this week here. And we do expect temperatures to be mainly into the 80s, lows into the 50s and 60s. And it looks like this nice weather will continue as we head into next week as well. Let's talk about your 10-second takeaway. So overall, it's a humid and warm start here. We do expect that mix in sun and clouds to occur later today. And of course, our temperatures continue to remain on the seasonable side. Stay with us, though. Much more news and weather still to come right here on News 8 Now this morning, but we're taking a quick break. Here's a look at what happened on this day in history. We'll be right back. Well, we're definitely off to a pretty muggy start this morning as our relative humidity is a little on the high side this morning as you step outside the door, but we're also talking about some pretty warm temperatures this morning as well. So that's why things are feeling muggy, because you got some high relative humidity and pretty warm temperatures with current readings into the 70s out there. Let's talk about your dog walking forecast this morning. Skies looking mostly sunny, but a bit humid out there, of course. And then we may see an increase in clouds this afternoon, making things a tad mostly cloudy before things clear out as we head closer towards the evening, and then the skies turning mostly sunny.
Breaking overnight, the death toll continues to rise in Pakistan, where monsoon rains and flooding have killed more than 1,000 people. The Pakistani army is helping with relief and rescue operations as the government calls for international aid. The country is experiencing its 8th cycle of monsoon rains. Normally, Pakistan only has 3 to 4 cycles of rain. Canadian police are investigating the theft of a famous portrait of Winston Churchill. This portrait is one of the most duplicated photos of the 20th century. Last weekend, employees at a luxury hotel in Ottawa noticed the frame holding the print was not hung properly, and the frame did not match other nearby images. The value of the stolen portrait is around $100,000. Pope Francis has inducted 20 cardinals from around the world, choosing men who mostly agree with his vision of a more progressive and inclusive church. They came from many countries around the world, ranging from the United States to India to Ghana. At the ceremony, Francis told the new cardinals to show concern for ordinary people despite their high-ranking positions. This video shows new attacks near Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Both Russia and Ukraine are claiming the other country is to blame. The plant is controlled by Russian forces but operated by Ukrainian engineers. International experts say the latest shelling underscores the risk of a nuclear catastrophe. All eyes are on the launch pad for 39B at the Kennedy Space Center this morning as NASA kickstarts its program to get back to the moon for the first time in 50 years. Skylar Henry is at the Space Center with the latest on the Artemis 1 launch.
The countdown was on for NASA's new moon rocket until a hydrogen leak this morning slowed things down. The issue appeared in the same area during a dress rehearsal in the spring. Jeremy Parsons is on the team in charge of sending the rocket and Orion capsule on a more than 1-month journey.
I've always wanted to be a part of going back to the moon, and this is that first big step.
The $4 billion unpiloted mission is a bit of a test run, going beyond the far side of the moon before returning to Earth's orbit, splashing into the Pacific, traveling a total of more than 1.3 million miles.
But you're testing it to its limits to make sure that these things are capable to do what y'all are designing it to do?
At every level, right down to the smallest piece, we test, we test, we test again. Then when we've integrated it together, we test once more.
The mission kicks off NASA's hope of getting people back on the moon to its south pole as early as 2025.
When you build a spacecraft, you can't take any chances. Certainly not when you're building a human-rated spacecraft.
Setting the stage for future human exploration into deep space and possibly a landing on Mars. Skylar Henry, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
Now, if today's launch gets canceled due to weather or other reasons, NASA will try again on Friday. Well, the federal government is ending its offer to ship free at-home COVID-19 tests. The reason, Congress hasn't provided the additional funding necessary for the program to continue. The Biden administration first launched the program through the COVID.gov website in January. The COVID.gov website now shows a message that says ordering tests will be suspended on Friday, September 2nd. More than 4,000 striking teachers in Columbus met Sunday night to ratify a new contract. Members of the Columbus Education Association voted to accept the deal. The union's bargaining team finalized on Thursday, and now the first strike in Ohio's capital city since 1975 is officially over.
With tonight's vote, classes for Columbus City students will resume tomorrow. We are excited to get back to where we belong, our classrooms, doing what we do best, educating our students and shaping the future of this great city.
Students in Columbus had to spend their first week of the new school year learning remotely. Some students actually joined teachers on the picket lines to support their cause. Milwaukee police are investigating an incident in which a gunman fired on his elderly neighbors on Wednesday. One person was killed and 3 others were injured. Police believe the unnamed suspect also set the house next door on fire. One of the survivors, 88-year-old Carrie Barnhill, says that she plans on forgiving the shooter.
The only way that I can find peace is I have to forgive him and go on with my life. God is not finished with me yet. So I just thank the Lord for saving my life.
The suspect has not been taken into custody at this time. Mississippi is bracing for significant floods. The Pearl River near Jackson is expected to crest today. Parts of other states around there are at risk of flooding as well. Amy Kiley has those details this morning.
The sandbags are down in Jackson, Mississippi. At least 100 homes are at risk as floodwaters rise.
Pearl River is forecast to crest today at 35.5 feet.
During breaks in the days of rain, some residents left town.
We're going to get out of here for safety. We got a truck loaded up.
There's my car, you stuck. Can't drive, it's too low.
Many who live here remember the punishing floods of 2020.
The whole house was damaged. We had to gut it inside. All of the walls had to be out. We lost everything.
Other areas of Mississippi could flood, and even parts of neighboring states.
We're looking at showers and thunderstorms, increasing the flood threat across portions of Texas, southern Louisiana, and a good portion of Florida.
The water cycle that we learned in 7th grade is completely unpredictable now.
Climate scientists warn the latest droughts and floods in the U.S. and other parts of the world won't be the last.
We've built major cities next to these bodies of water, and we've built modern supply chains based on predictable weather patterns of the last, couple hundred years, and all of that is up in the air right now.
Amy Kiley, News 8 Now.
Governor Tate Reeves already declared a state of emergency for some areas. Well, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan joined Minnesota Department of Resources Commissioner Sarah Stroman to unveil a children's outdoor Bill of Rights at the Minnesota State Fair.
There are few places in the world that have the wealth of resources that Minnesota has. So I'm excited about this. It matters.
According to the governor's office, this Bill of Rights is a recognition of Minnesota's public-private commitment to creating outdoor recreation experiences for children and youth, no matter who they are or where they live. Despite some rainy weather on Saturday, the Minnesota State Fair had plenty to offer for fairgoers indoors, including a visit from some furry friends. Marielle Mose takes us there.
Like this young lady's rabbit right here, you'll see how nice and round he is when we get to it.
Rows and rows of rabbit cages filled the sheep and poultry building Saturday morning on the fairgrounds. Over 250 kids ages 12 to 20 years old were showing off their prize-worthy rabbits.
Shows a great depth of body, but she needs a little bit more width of body into that.
Lucas and I are brother and sister, and then our rabbits are brother and sister as well. So, I don't know, it's just a cute little thing. Our mom really likes it.
These siblings competed with their Dutch rabbits, representing Dakota County. They'll be judged on the quality of the breed and how knowledgeable they are about their rabbits and how they handle them.
And how we pose them, how much we know, how we take care of them throughout the year.
Abby and her rabbit are representing Sibley County. All of these kids participating in the competition won their county fairs first, and then they earned the chance to stay in dorms on the fairground or U of M campus for the weekend.
I met a bunch of people over State Fair that you don't really meet like anywhere else other than here. Because my 4-H friends are some of the closest people, and we get to stay together, show together, pretty much together all day.
A lot of people associate the 4-H competitions with livestock, but the projects go far beyond that, including crocheting, which Allison participated in this year.
I've also made other crocheted items and other crafts and fine art items.
All 3 rabbit competition participants that we spoke to have 4-H passions outside of livestock.
I've done a lot of shop projects, so like you work with wood and metal.
I like fruit, flower gardening, food preservation.
At the fairgrounds, Marielle Mose, WCCO 4 News.
Now the State Fair ends next week on Labor Day.
Well, skies are looking clear here. City Cam 8 showing everything quiet for us this morning, but a bit humid out there. Our relative humidity in La Crosse is 85%. Partly cloudy skies and a calm wind in place at the moment. We got current temperatures into the 70s everywhere else this morning, but you can see cooler temperatures back towards the west over Minnesota, where current readings are into the 60s. That's because they're on the back side of that cold front. In fact, you can kind of make out where that front is, separating the warmer contour colors on the right as far as the cooler contours on the left there. And then for today, 84 degrees, partly cloudy, seasonable west-southwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour. For tonight, though, 60. Clear skies and light west winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. As far as your drivecast here for the rest of the morning, we are expecting mostly sunny skies and then mostly cloudy conditions by the lunch hour, followed by mostly sunny as we head closer towards the early evening. Jordan?
Thanks a lot, Derek. Well, if movie ticket prices have been keeping you away from the Cineplex, your day is coming this weekend. We'll fill you in after the break. Your Buzz Report is just ahead.
Well, definitely a humid start here this morning as you take a live look at the relative humidity values across the Coulee region into the 80 to 90 percentiles, even stronger than that in some spots. For example, Viroqua completely saturated and muggy at 100% relative humidity. In addition to that, it's also pretty warm here this morning in many spots into the 70s. But if you look further west, temperatures are into the 60s across portions of Minnesota. That is actually from the backside of the cold front. In fact, you can kind of make out where that front is, separating the cooler and warmer colors there across portions of the area. Satellite and radar showing that we did have a broken line of showers and storms move through late last night into early this morning, but that broken line has since cleared the area. In fact, it continues to weaken as it pushes its way towards the east, out ahead of this cold front that currently is moving through the upper Midwest at the moment. In fact, you can see there's some much drier air back towards the west on the back side of that cold front, and we do expect that system to bring us that dry air later today. High temperatures yesterday were at 82 degrees and the average is 81. For today, average high is still 81, but we're going to be a few degrees above normal today because I do expect us to reach 84 degrees. Check out the low temperature this morning. I'm expecting to get down to only about 72 degrees. That's going to put us way above normal of 60 degrees for the time of the year. And highs today across the area into the upper 70s to low 80s come this afternoon. So very seasonable day. 81 degrees, but we could see some mostly cloudy skies arrive by around noon today, and then partly cloudy skies by 4. And then we're looking at clear skies as we head towards the evening, 73 degrees by 8. So that front here will continue to move towards the east. There you can see some clouds moving up from the south, but then after that, skies looking mainly clear as we head towards tonight, and high pressure builds in tomorrow to give us lots of sunshine and dry conditions for us to work with. And it looks like the nice weather will continue throughout the rest of this week, as you can see, with high temperatures into the 80s and lows into the 50s and 60s. And we expect those quiet conditions with mainly sunny skies to continue as we head into next week as well.
In our Buzz Report this Monday morning, fewer people go to the movies on Labor Day weekend than almost any other time of the year. So this Saturday, September 3rd, the Cinema Foundation is promoting a special event at more than 3,000 U.S. theaters. On more than 30,000 screens, all showings of all movies in all formats will be just $3 per ticket. So you can check your local listings for those details. Kelly Clarkson took to Instagram announcing a duet with country legend Dolly Parton. To update the song 9 to 5, the new version of the soundtrack is the upcoming documentary Still Working 9 to 5 about workplace inequality. The new duet will be released on September 9th, and the film will be in select theaters September 16th. A second season of the hit series House of Dragon was announced just 1 week after its premiere. The prequel to the Game of Thrones is HBO's largest debut in history, with 20 million viewers watching. House of Dragons airs on HBO and streams on HBO Max Sundays. We have a pair of birthdays to celebrate this Monday morning.
Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday to Josie, and she loves hanging out with her family and friends. and doing arts and crafts and dancing. There's that picture. Lovely smile there, Josie.
And a happy 8th birthday to Ashley. Ashley is a loving, fun, energetic girl who loves spending time with her family and her dog, Daisy.
Well, if you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 80 years old, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Yeah, make sure you let us know. You're going to upload their photo to our website, news8000.com. You're going to look for the Submit Pictures button right under the Home tab on the website. Well, stay with us. We've got everything you need to know this morning in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now is just ahead. Your morning news now on this Monday. The rain could not stop the fun for area families yesterday. Children were able to get down and have some fun in the mud at the Parenting Places Children's Festival. This annual event focuses on allowing little ones to play in paint, blocks, and more. Organizers told parents that it's okay to get a little messy.
Learn through play. That's what they do best. And so what we like to showcase at the Children's Festival is how simple play can be to really engage children and help build their creativity. And when we're in this environment, the social connections are phenomenal.
It was all free for kids and their parents. It is almost time to get back on the bus for another year of school. Over the weekend in pre-K through 12th grade, they all got the chance to pick out some new school supplies at the Dahl Family YMCA in La Crosse. Those supplies came at no cost to the families. Supplies were donated throughout the community and go right back into the community.
Supporting the education of our children is definitely what will be the future of tomorrow. And getting a good education starts with school supplies.
News 8 Now's Stuff the Bus event also helped bring in thousands of school supplies to area families for this event. In the first 2 hours, the drive was able to serve over 100 families. It was all shared by a community effort led by Catholic Charities to get kids connected with supplies for the upcoming school year.
Muggy and warm start this morning, but we do expect a mix of sun and clouds later today with temperatures warming up into the upper 70s as we head closer towards those mid to late morning hours. Highs today around 83 degrees by the afternoon.
Well, today is the last day. The Mississippi River will be full of competitors trying to catch the big one.
There's a lot riding on the line. Plus, the guy that wins gets $100,000.
It's a healthy chunk of change. The Bassmaster Elite Tournament Day 4 is underway. Anglers are competing to qualify for future tournaments and for that big cash prize. The big weigh-in happens today at Copeland Park. An organizer of the event says fishing here is something competitors look forward to.
La Crosse is one of those destinations that a lot of tournament organizations like to come to. It's great fishing. The host community's always been great to us. You come back to these places every few years, you get to reestablish connections with the people. It's just a good feel.
The anglers do their best to release every fish they catch back into the river to make sure there is future generations of big and healthy bass. A heads up for Onalaska drivers this morning. Sand Lake Road will be closed from Wells Street to Madison Street. That starts this morning. Utility workers will be installing a new storm sewer pipe between Sand Lake Road and 11th Avenue North. Drivers can use the detour route posted along Wells Street, 14th Avenue North, and Madison Street. Onalaska city officials say the detour is only for residential drivers, not trucks and large cars. City engineers have not released how long the pipe will take to install. Also beginning this morning, those traveling on the Minnesota side of Interstate 90 might face some backups. Eastbound and westbound lanes will be closed as crews clear seal pavement cracks on the I-90 Mississippi River Bridge. Access to the Welcome Center and the Lock and Dam will be detoured for a short period of time during the road work. The Minnesota Department of Transportation says to access those spots, traffic should exit on 273. Work is expected to wrap up on August 31st, so give yourself some extra time this morning.
Well, after a muggy and warm start this morning, we do expect a mix of sun and clouds to occur today. Temperatures warming up into the low 80s at noon, 79 degrees by 5, but our highs today should reach around 84. West-southwest winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour today.
And we have more local news coming up for you at the top of the hour. How do fire departments in Black River Falls keep their firefighting skills sharp? And bracing for impact, Mississippi residents prep for what could be catastrophic flooding. We'll see you right back here in just a few minutes. You're watching News 8 Now this morning.